You said never let me go. You said never let me.
Hey guys, so as you can tell, I filmed this immediately after my December wrap up. But this is just a quick TBR. It's not a set TBR because I found that last month I just read what I wanted to read, and that really helped me get out of the slump I've been in for months. So my TBR this month is strictly 4 books I have to read. Everything else is going to be whatever I want it to be. The first 2 are the second and third books in the Halfling Saga by Melissa Blair, which are The Shadow Crown and A Vicious Game. I'm on a blog tour for A Vicious Game on the 29th of January, so do be on the lookout for that, which means I have to read books 2 and 3 before the end of the month. I read book 1, really enjoyed it, loved the premise, loved the characters. The ending was a sucker punch, but then I just never picked up book 2. So thank you for blog tours for forcing me to read books I have to read. Then these next 2 are both for buddy reads that I am in. So my buddy read group, Destroy My TBR, our book of the month for January is Not Good for Maidens by Tori Bovalina. I have read The Devil Makes 3 by Tori Bovalina and loved it. I adored it. And this basically follows the story of the Goblin Market, the fairy tale poem, The Goblin Market. Goblin Market is something I tend to like in movies but dislike in books. And this is where I've been on the fence about actually reading this one, because I love Labyrinth, David Bowie, classic, and the darker version of the story, Pan's Labyrinth, I also really enjoyed. But I read, the only one I could think of off the top of my head is the one by Shauna Maguire. It's one of her novella series that follows a Goblin Market story, and it's my least favourite of the series, and I actually don't think I've read anything after that. I do want to get back into it because the new ones look really good. So I'm nervous about getting into this, but I know I really love Tori Bovalina's writing, and the way The Devil Makes 3 it's the first kind of quarter was slow, but then after that flew through it. So I'm hoping it's going to be the same for this. It's not very long. I think it's like 350-ish pages, so I should be able to get that done very soon. But we shall see whether I actually like this. Although I do like the kind of ode to Silence of the Lambs on the cover. That's immediately what I think of when I see the Death's Head moth, is Silence of the Lambs. So hopefully it'll be just as dark and kind of creepy as the first one, but a bit more fantastical maybe. I'm not sure, but it might be worth it. And then this one you have seen repeatedly, and I still have not read it because it's intimidating and it's huge, and I'm scared because it means I'm a third of the way through the series, and I'm now very much committed to finishing it, which is also terrifying, and that's Narcissus in Chains by Laura K. Hamilton. This is the 10th book in the Anita Blake Vampire series. Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, sorry. Basically I was meant to read this months ago. I think the buddy read is on like book 17. So one of my first goals of the year is to catch up on this series. But the next couple of books are really big and then they slim off a bit, so I should be able to, hopefully if I can bang it, the chunkier ones, get through them pretty quickly. One thing I do like about the series is once you get into the books, you fly through them. They are just so easy to read, so fast paced. The only thing that's getting on my nerves is the main character, is Anita. Early on in the books, for the first like 5 books, she is very much devoted to her religion, staying pure until marriage, even though she's not a virgin. She doesn't want to have sex again until she gets married. And then she ends up in a love triangle with essentially a werewolf and an ancient vampire. She then sleeps with said ancient vampire in book 6, which was great. But we've had notes since then. She buggered off for an entire book with Edward. And while I love Edward as a character, he's sarcastic, dark, very dry wit, and gets on Anita's nerves like no tomorrow. It was an absolute pain to get through because none of my favourite characters were there, and it was a very much Anita and Edward hunting a creature for the entirety of the book. There was nothing else. In the other books, we've had that, but on the side, it's been Anita dealing with her job as a zombie raiser and dealing with these relationships and dealing with her new responsibilities as the head of the Were-Leopard pack, and there was a lot more going on. So there was that. We didn't have that in the last book in Obsidian Butterfly at all, which was annoying. But now we apparently get back to it, as this one follows one of the were-leopards being abducted and taken to a club called Narcissus in Chains. Which I really like how the locations match up with the title. Sometimes like the first book, Guilty Pleasures, is Jean-Claude's nightclub. Narcissus in Chains is also a club. And I think this is going to have way more whiny Anita than I'm prepared for, because it literally says on the back that she hasn't spoken to Jean-Claude in 6 months, but now she needs his help, whatever the consequences. And I'm like, just get over yourself, Anita. You are bound to these two men. You've used their powers. You can read each other's minds, essentially go into each other's dreams. Just get over your childish issues with it and be adults about it. But she's a whiny crybaby. At times gives me major dumb bitch energy, but we shall live with that. But I'm hoping, at least because Jean-Claude is mentioned on the back, that we'll have more of him in this book, and he is my favourite character, especially since book 6. And I'm hoping, being as this is marketed as quite a smutty series, that we will get more of the smut. Because in my recollection, we've had literally book 6. This is book 10. And it was right at the end of book 6. So we've had like 2 scenes in 10 books that could be considered smutty. And I'm tired of it. I want the vampire smut, and the werewolf smut, and the were-leopard smut. I want everything. So, but also my second favourite character has been introduced in the series, and I want to see more of him. So I'm making my goal to get through the behemoth that is this book. It's almost 700 pages, and I've only just got out of a slump, and I would dread for a whiny Anita to put me back in it. So that is the only things I'm committing to this month. Everything else is going to be whatever I feel like reading. So apart from these 2 and finishing off the Halfling Saga, it's a mystery. But stay tuned for the ride, and hopefully January will be a month where I can continue to get regular videos up for you guys, because yeah, finding the time to film and the peace and quiet to film has been extremely difficult. So hopefully soon. See ya.